So, when I was going to do this talk, Martin rings me up and he said, I need to talk about psychological safety. And my first response was, have you been drinking? And then he's like, no, I need to talk about changing businesses. And I'm like, you should be drinking. So, in honor of that, and because we're here, I am going to talk about lessons learned deploying lean enterprise at scale, but I'm also going to talk about what everyone is really thinking. There's only one more talk until drinking. How high-performance people party at scale. And I'm going to tell you a story about where there was a lot of partying going on. Actually, there was a lot of drinking going on all the time. In about the 1960s, the NUMMI factory was the worst performing factory in North America for GM. People were literally getting drunk, partying, sex, drugs, rock and roll. It was all happening on the line. If you had a job at NUMMI, you couldn't get fired. It was heavily unionized. Everybody who worked there knew as long as they showed up, drink their beer, stick it in the gas tank, send it down the line, they couldn't get fired. This was the culture that they had there. Now, about this time, the Japanese were having a massive performance improvement relative to the Americans. And they were interested about trying to collaborate or partner with opening a business in North America. So they reached out to General Motors and they asked them, hey, we're thinking about opening a factory in North America. Any factories you're interested in helping us work with? Which factory do you think GM recommended that they do? But there was another stipulation of the terms of the deal. They had to rehire all the people that worked at the factory. Every single person that worked at the factory had to be rehired. So Toyota was like, this is amazing. We get a factory, we get some people. Where do we sign? GM started laughing, saying, you sign right here, thanks very much. And they took these people and they brought them to Toyota City in Nagoya in Japan. They took the leadership from NUMMI. And they taught them how to work under the Toyota production system, where they learned a culture, a set of behaviors, of daily experimentation, of learning, of leadership, of what it takes to create high-performance cultures. Now, they spent 2 months in Nagoya in Japan, and then they came back to the NUMMI factory. And there's a really great podcast called This American Life, if anyone ever listens to it. And for these people, it was a transformational experience. NUMMI went from the worst performing factory to the best performing factory in North America within 2 months. And it stayed that way right through to the 2000s. And what this teaches us is that it's very rarely the individuals, it's often the system that they live within. And the first American to be hired by Toyota, a guy called John Shook, who also developed the training program for the people who went to Nagoya in Japan, understood this. And what he talks about in most of our cultures, what we're told is, you just need to change the way you think, and then you're going to change the way you act. But that's actually incorrect. You need to change the way you behave. And as a result of behaving in a different way, you start to see and experience the world in a different way, and that starts to change the way you think. Anyone here been on a 2-day certified Scrum Maniac course? On day 3, did you change the way you did everything? No, you have to start working in a different way. And that's what a lot of these methods try to do. Instead of having big, long cycles or silos across organizations, you make cross-functional teams. Instead of having big requirements documents, you work in smaller batches of work so you can get work more done end to end, get faster feedback. You're changing the system of work. You're changing the way people behave, and through changing the way they behave, you start to change the way they think,